Arcadian Vanguard presents The Wrestling News in your daily wrestling newscast for Saturday, December 17th, 2022. Good morning, I'm Mike Sempervive. We begin today with WWE Smackdown, broadcast live last night on Fox from the sold-out Allstate Arena in Chicago, Illinois. The show featured the return to television of undisputed WWE Champion Roman Reigns, along with his advisor Paul Heyman. In the final segment of the show, the Bloodline held court in the ring. The drama centered on Roman Reigns' reaction to Sami Zayn seemingly misspeaking and calling Kevin Owens his friend. But before that could come to a head, John Cena appeared on the Titantron and revealed that he'd be Kevin Owens' partner against Reigns and Zayn on the December 30th edition of SmackDown.
Did you know you've had a WWE match every year for the past 20 years, except this one? Your streak's about to be broken. Mind blown emoji, eggplant emoji, Santa Claus emoji, peach emoji. Do you want to be my tag team partner on SmackDown December 30th in Tampa, Florida? Hell yes, I'll be there. Hell yes, I will be your partner. And hell yes, we will bring the fight to the Bloodline.
Reigns and Heyman hadn't appeared on any programming since the Bloodline won their match in the main event of Survivor Series War Games. Gunther retained the Intercontinental Championship, defeating Ricochet after the last Symphony.
And there comes the challenger. Ricochet can't even stand up. And Gunther, just like that, the cover on Ricochet with the last Symphony. Gunther retains.
After the match ended, Gunther's Imperium partners Giovanni Vinci and Ludwig Kaiser joined the champion in continuing the attack until Braun Strowman came down to make the save. Later in the show, a Miracle on 34th Street fight was announced for next week's show, with Imperium taking on Braun and Ricochet in a handicap match. LA Knight cut an in-ring promo calling out Bray Wyatt and blaming him for a recent series of attacks against him. Wyatt came down to the ring to deny the allegations, which led to Knight attacking him. As Knight did, the masked Uncle Howdy character that has been appearing in vignettes appeared at the top of the ramp, standing in smoke and special effects lighting, and laughed for 52 seconds until the show faded into a commercial break. Also on the program, Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler attacked Raquel Rodriguez during an interview segment. A gauntlet match was announced for next week in order to determine a contender for Rousey's SmackDown title. In the number one contenders match, Hit Row won a three-way over the Viking Raiders and Legado del Fantasma. They'll face the Usos for the undisputed tag team titles next Friday. And Io Sky and Dakota Kai defeated Tegan Nox and Liv Morgan when a hooded figure came from the crowd to kick Nox in the head, which led to Sky finishing her with a moonsault. With a look at AEW Rampage, here's the Wrestling News' Lou Kipilman.
AEW Rampage was presented last night on TNT, featuring matches recorded last Wednesday night following Dynamite at the Curtis Culwell Center in Garland, Texas. The opening match on the show saw Jon Moxley defeat Sammy Guevara with the Bulldog Choke, when Guevara passed out and the referee stopped the match. During the bout, Moxley bled from his left ear, after Guevara purportedly pulled out his earring. After it was over, Moxley grabbed the microphone and called out Hangman Adam Page, who obliged, and the two brawled around ringside until security was able to break them up. During the brawl, Page laid out a security member with the buckshot lariat.
Hangman Adam Page not cleared for action. He's backing off Evil Uno, and he is charging to the ring. He is charging right into the waiting fist of Jon Moxley.
Moxley's warmed up. He's sweaty. He's hot. He's pissed. And Hangman Page has come to fight. Help's on the way.
And Hangman Page, he's being restrained. The referee corps out here too. I hate to say this, it's for his own good. Yeah, Hangman is not cleared. He's got a buckshot. Not cleared for any of this. A buckshot lariat. Oh! Hangman swinging at anything that moves, including Jon Moxley.
Britt Baker defeated Sky Blue by submission with the lockjaw. After the match, Baker held the move on Blue until Hikaru Shida came down with a kendo stick to run Baker and Rebel off, and engage AEW Women's World Champion Jamie Hayter in a stare-down. Earlier in the show, during a pre-taped promo, Saraya hinted that she'll have a surprise partner for her tag team match against Baker and Hayter when they face off at the Forum in Los Angeles on January 11th. Wardlow defeated Exodus Prime after the Powerbomb Symphony. After the match, Wardlow called out TNT and ROH TV champion Samoa Joe. Joe refused to physically engage the former champion, but did accept his challenge for a match on the December 28th edition of Dynamite.
Who are you to dictate anything to the king of television? But you know what? Despite your insolence, you need to understand that I set the conditions, so I offer you the king's terms. I will not defend my championship against you here tonight. I will not defend my championship next week in San Antonio. As a matter of fact, I hope I never defend a championship in this god-awful state ever again. No, Wardlow, I'm going to be a gracious king. I'm going to give you clemency. In fact, you have the merriest of Christmases. And they come December 28th in Colorado. I'm going to give you everything that you want.
Also on the show, Chuck Taylor, Trent Beretta, Orange Cassidy, and Dustin Rhodes defeated The Butcher, The Blade, Kip Sabian, and Trent Seven. Jim Ross conducted a sit-down interview with Preston Vance, where he explained why he joined LFI. And FTR cut an in-ring promo promising to defeat Austin and Colton Gunn Wednesday on Dynamite. For the Wrestling News, I'm Lou Kipilman.
El Hijo del Vikingo made his American Independent Wrestling debut last evening at GCW's America's Most Wanted event in Los Angeles. After the Fight Plus portion of the card was televised, the AAA Mega Champion defeated Blake Christian. GCW was not able to stream the match due to AAA rules forbidding Vikingo matches to be aired anywhere other than their own official channels. Later tonight, Vikingo's American tour continues with a match against prodigious youngster Nick Wayne for Defy Wrestling at Washington Hall in Seattle. The main event of America's Most Wanted, which took place at the Ukrainian Cultural Center, saw Nick Gage retain the GCW World title with a win over Tony Deppen. It was his fourth defense. In other title matches on the show, Joey Janela defeated Pagano to retain the GCW Extreme title, and GCW Tag Team Champions Los Macizos defeated the Rockness Monsters. With some entertainment news, here's the Wrestling News' Lou Kipilman.
Chris Jericho recently completed filming a new wrestling horror-themed movie titled Dark Match, according to Hollywood media website Deadline. According to the report, the story's plot, quote, sees a small-time wrestling company accept a high-paying gig in a backwoods town, only to discover when they arrive that the community is run by a mysterious cult leader with devious plans for their match, end quote. The movie was shot in Edmonton, Alberta, and is being produced by Department 9 Studios, with Jericho also serving as a co-executive producer. For the Wrestling News, I'm Lou Kipilman.
Our final report today will contain some spoilers for next week's SmackDown on Fox, which was taped after last night's SmackDown at the Allstate Arena in Chicago. If you wish to not hear any of these spoilers, we'll give you a minute to make your decision. And please remember to follow us across all of our forms of social media. On next week's edition of SmackDown, the Usos defeat Hit Row to retain the WWE Undisputed Tag Team titles. Raquel Rodriguez wins a gauntlet match to become the #1 contender for Ronda Rousey's SmackDown Women's title. Braun Strowman and Ricochet defeated Imperium in the Miracle on 34th Street fight. Rey Mysterio defeated Angel Garza with Karrion Kross watching on. And during a segment with the Bloodline, Solo Sikoa against Sheamus was added to the December 30th edition of SmackDown. And before we leave you today, we'd like to remind you that however you consume your content, you can find the Wrestling News 24 hours a day and 7 days a week across social media. On Twitter, follow us at Wrestling News AV. Our Facebook page is also Wrestling News AV. The Wrestling News can also be found on the Arcadian Vanguard YouTube page. And for those who utilize Amazon Echo devices, just tell Alexa to play the Wrestling News podcast. And remember to make sure you add podcast at the end. Once again, for daily updates, breaking news, and more, follow the Wrestling News across social media. And that's the news for today. If anything happens, we will be here to tell you about it. No clickbait, no paywall, just the wrestling news. The Wrestling News is a division of Arcadian Vanguard, and the Wrestling Newscast is a production of the Arcadian Vanguard Podcast Network.